Alright, I think we can move in even sooner. Give you back 4 minutes of your life. You know, there's 4 minutes that you're there waiting. Full ball vision to start. You know, just so excited. Can't wait. God, he's gonna make me wait another 4 minutes, 27 seconds. I gave that back. I gave it right back. Alright, you know the drill. And really, it's just a bit of a warm-up. We've got a special guest on the stream coming up at 7 PM. So this is just a bit of a warm-up for me, just to make sure that the setup is working. But let's go. It sounds like it is to me. I hope you can hear the background tunes. This streaming lark, it's not easy, you know. It's not easy. There's a lot of stuff to do. There's a lot of stuff to learn. Right, what's that? D3? I'm going to play bishop to C5. Got a decent position. Probably knight F3. Okay, now knight C6, and it's not the position I wanted. In this position, I prefer my bishop to be on E7. A3. They're going to play B4, attack our bishops. So A5 is what I'm going to do. Yeah, I've got a noise gate on the mic and it might be a bit harsh, so you know what, I'm just gonna tweak that. I'm just gonna lower the threshold there because I think it might be a little bit harsh. Yeah, just mix in on the fly. Mix in on the fly. I think it's good now. All right, knight C3. Interesting move. Okay, we played A5. Just remember where the pieces are. Don't want to get low on time, but let's just, not the pieces, the pawns. They are like so, and like so. And the pieces are in the most natural arrangement you can possibly imagine. Hang on, have I still got D7 pawn? Yes, I have. Alright, question, can I play D5? No, not with a knight in C3. Okay, so that's not a thing we're going to do anymore, so let's just castle. Alright, let's have a think. Oh, did we allow bishop g5? Oh, that's so annoying. That is a really annoying move to face, and we just walked straight into it. Okay, we did this. We did this to ourselves. Hard to undo. Really hard to undo. Maybe we just have to accept it. Let's play bishop e6. Maybe we can extricate ourselves this way. Okay, this makes sense. I think we've got to give out the bishop pair. We've got to give up the bishop pair, should I say? This went awfully wrong. Allowing bishop g5 was not what we wanted. Okay, leaves them with a choice at least. Bishop or pawn to recapture. I think they'll go with the bishop. Oh, they're going with the pawn. Okay, man. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? Knight e7. Yes, they can take. We're going to take back. This is going to give us a bad pawn structure. Alright, it shatters our kingside pawn structure, but it does give us an open g-file for our rook eventually. Pretty sure they're going to capture. And we can work with that. Okay, so now I want to play king h1 and rook g8 as our next two moves. We should be able to defend. Okay, so the knight goes to h2. What's that all about? I think they want queen g4 check, but I mean that's just one check. I think let's just check this out. So our bishop left e6. Our knight went to e7. So two pairs of minor pieces were traded. Their pawn structure is like this. Did they play a3? I can't remember. I don't think they did. They played a4. Oh no, they did play a3 because they wanted b4. Okay. Our pawn structure is now a bit of a mess. Right, I think it's... You still got pawn on d7? I think we might have. I think that's it. I think it looks like... No. We've definitely not got pawn on d7. It's on d6. Okay, good. We've got bishop on c5. They've got bishop on c4. We've got a knight on e7. Here. Okay, great. We definitely want the knight on g6. I think we want to play king h8 before anything else. Does the queen threaten anything? Yes, it does. Queen takes f6. The queen isn't on f3 yet. Okay. Slow down. Maybe knight g6 first. Okay, let's keep the knight on e7 for the moment. King h8. Knight goes to g4. Okay, so the knight's threatening f6. I think we just play knight g6. And then we've got the queen defending f6. I think I see what's going to happen now. Then they're going to play queen f3, and they're going to be 2 attacks on f6. And we're not going to be able to defend it. So maybe it's prudent to actually play f5. Okay, this requires thought. Maybe the f pawn is just gone. Maybe we have to just forget about it. If we play f5 now, where are they going to land this knight? This g4 knight? And they could land it on h6. Problems. They could do that anyway. Okay. Let's at least attempt to defend f6. I'm expecting queen f3. Queen f3 played. Okay, so if we get f5... Okay, knight takes... It's going to be a problem if our rook's on g8. This is an absolute calamity. Okay, perhaps the only thing we can do... Okay, that doesn't even work. e4 doesn't work because they'll just take on f6 with check. Okay, but... What about e4? Right, if they take with check, we trade. And then we've got bishop d4, it looks. But the knight doesn't threaten anything on f6. Not a check. And I think b2 is hanging. So we might get the b2 back. What if they just capture? Guess then we can play bishop d4. It is giving a pawn up. Difficult. Guess we could play bishop d4 to start with. Maybe that's what we could do. Bishop d4 to begin with. And if they go queen takes, we trade. And then we can push. And what else could they do? If they play c3, then we can play e4. They take, and at least we're covering g7, f6, excuse me. But still, this all looks a bit dodgy. And we're just running out of time. Did they castle? I'm not certain they castled. That might mean that we can actually play knight here. It's really tough. We made a thorough hash of this. Okay, I'm going to do the only thing that I can think to do, which is knight h4. Now, if queen takes, knight takes, at least we get to take on g2, because I think they haven't castled. I think they haven't castled. Right, we are so far behind on time against Alireza Panya. Warm-up game. You can't play this slowly. Right, you just can't play this slowly. You just can't do it. Okay, queen went to g3. Yep. Okay, so I'm just drop back to g6. And we've managed to defend the f6 pawn. Okay. That seems like some sort of result. Probably not the most fun to watch me just spend 6 minutes trying to find a move. Ah, they've castled. Okay, great stuff. Ooh, but now there is an f5. Alright, that g4 knight's attacked. Where's it going to go? I know it's going to go somewhere. So let's find out. I think we've got to do that. I think we've got to shed the weakness. We are threatening f4. Some world. And also your queen h4 now. Maybe we can try and get developed. Finally. Trying to understand the pawn structure. What happened to our d pawn? It's on d6. Ah, okay, that's how it looks. Looks like this, doesn't it? Tension. Right, knight went back all the way back. You know what, can't we just play f4? We could play f4, we could play queen h4. Quite like the idea of just... Hey, what about knight e4 now? Is there a pawn on d3? There's a pawn on d3, so we can't do that. But that would be a great move. Okay, what about queen f6? Queen f6, I like it. Actually, you know what I like more? Yeah, that one. I like that one most. Rook g8. X-raying the queen on g3. Okay, so the queen then parks itself on f3. Wanting to look at f5, I think. Queen g4. Queen g5, sorry, or queen h5. Quite like the look of queen g5 now. You know what? I'm going to do it. Queen g5. Got 2 minutes. This is just horrendous. Okay. But I think I can see the position pretty well. Looks like we might have some danger with f4. And this bishop just cutting through the position. Got pawn on h5. Forgot about that. a5. This is our position. Okay, c3. The point of c3, I guess, is to try to play... I don't know what the point of c3 is. But what I do know is that I think knight h4 looks like a very strong move. So I'm going to play it. Knight h4. Now we've got just lots of pressure on g2 and we're hitting the queen. And a move that you simply can't play is queen g3. We'll see why if it's played. Happy with knight h4. Hang on. What do you do about that? What do you do about that? The queen is the only defender of g2, which would be a mate. So the threat is, you know, queen g2 is the problem. the queen f3 defends g2, so queen g5 to g2 would be a mate. Where does the queen go to maintain the defense? d5? No, we have a pawn on f, sorry, e4 you can't. There's a pawn on f5, going to capture you. Can you go to, I mean, is that a legal move? No, there's a pawn sitting on that square. And that's it, there's no other resource. I think the queen's lost, you know. g4. g4 is, nope, we take the queen with check. The queen, it looks like we might have got away with it. I think we got away with it. Swindle. We need, yeah, look, we got away with it. Alright, this attacks the bishop, but I think we're taking the queen with a check. And even worse, queen takes g2 is coming. So, and there's no recapture with the pawn. I think it's mate. I think it's mate. Shachmat. Good game, Ali Reza. Oh, we really got away with that. Big swindle. Resigns. Alright, we got lucky. We got lucky. Let's have a little look at some analysis. Oof, you know, that got my heart going, that did. I lost a lot of time. Time scramble. Okay, let's have a look at the analysis here. This is the analysis scene. Alright, so what happened in this game? Yeah, my opponent kind of tricked me with this bishop opening. What I mean by that is, I played bishop c5 here, and we reach a position, which is this one. This is like, if you invert the move order, so imagine the game went like this. Now in this position I usually play bishop e7, because I feel like everyone knows bishop c5 really well. But you see, by inverting the move order, I've gone bishop c5, knight c3, knight c6, and now I'm in the position that I don't want to reach in the Italian. So, well done. My opponent has confused me. Okay, I think this was a decent move. Knight c3. I castled first, and then I think I played d6. Okay, and I thought this was a major problem for me. I thought it was an inaccuracy. I thought d6 was not good, because this bishop d5 looks, the pressure here from this pin and the threat of knight d5, it just looks unpleasant. Okay, trying to trade pieces. This is a clever move. We can't obviously take on d5 because our knight's pinned to our queen. Okay, probably a good decision. You know, knight d4 was possible here. That didn't occur to me at all. Knight d4 was possible. Instead I played knight e7. Okay, and yeah, surely white's a bit better here, just because of the king side. But here the engine is now saying actually black is slightly better. So the shattered pawn structure on the king side isn't such a problem, presumably because the rook can go to the g-file, and white's not yet castled. Okay, this was a good plan from our opponent. They're going to take on f6. And I think we found a decent way out of that. Yeah, I think the idea now is that if they take on f6, we do get knight takes g2 at the end of the line. So we reclaim the pawn, and their king is in the middle. And this knight's probably not going to stay there forever, but he is doing a good job at the moment, stopping my rook going to g8. But that's not what happened. Our opponent instead moved their queen to g3, and this was almost a decisive error, believe it or not. And I think it's just because the g-file is just so problematic. I could have played f5 here, no? Maybe that's what the move was, f5. I missed that completely. Discovering a defense and hitting the g4 knight. And then you can probably follow it with rook g8. Very nice, I missed that. I went back. Okay. Wow, this game is swinging around like a pendulum. f5. Okay, now black's in big trouble, and this is... Knight h4 was already good. I missed knight h4. Okay, queen g5. And now knight h4 is just lights out. It's lights out. And resigns is completely fair. All right, that was fun. We're gonna go for another one. No, that was the timer by accident. Yeah, let's go. By the way, we've got friend of the stream is going to join us at 7 for a 2-game match. I'm going to be playing subs, and I'm subscribers, by the way. And I'm going to be offering a prize, so stay tuned. Alright, here we go. So we're black again in an e4, e5 opening. Bishop c4, okay, now knight f6. You get the Italian very, very often at this level, and in fact at all levels. Knight c3.
Inaccuracy.
I think that's not the best move in the position. Commentator agrees. It's not a bad move objectively, but it allows... Have I got knight c6? Yes, it allows knight takes e4.
Exclam.
This looks like it blunders a piece, but it doesn't, because if they capture on e4, we throw in d5, and that forks their minor pieces. So players often see that and they think, okay, they're going to win the piece back. I'll play bishop takes f7. I'll regain the pawn, and I'll bring their king into the center. That's what they played.
Expected.
It's actually not the best move. Okay, and now we're in a position where we have the bishop pair. Our king has gone walkies, so we got the 2 bishops, and they've only got 1 bishop. So we got this 1 knight. They got these 2 knights here, and I think what we're going to do is just sort of push those knights around a little bit. So have a nice center. Hopefully get our king back to g8. If we could get our rook to f8 before we do that, that'd be even better. There's a couple of ideas here. I think typically people play knight g3. You could play knight g5 check. I think that's also playable. Right, now knight g3 is the obvious move. Now is it here we play a bit of h5? I think h5 is a move here. I think it is. Or no, I think we have to play this one first. Yeah, I think that's the idea. Yeah, I think we go e4, so we hit this knight, and that knight I think has to go back to g1 now. Is that right? Looks right. I mean, I can't see the pieces, so let's go for that. I'm trying to remember me opening theory. You know what? We've run out of tea. That's not good. Tea's what? Tea is like fuel. It's my fuel. Alright, let's try and call the positions. So, pawns are like so. Hang on. Yeah, our f-pawn was captured. Yeah, I think that's right. Their pawns... They still got an e5 pawn? No. Nah. Yeah, sorry. A d4 pawn. No, they haven't. Alright, their knight did go back to g1. 6v7? No, they've still got a pawn on d2. That's it. They have knights here and here, and everything else is at home, but they've got no light square bishop anymore. For us, we've only got our king developed. Which you don't want. You don't want your king developed. No, we've got a knight in c6 as well. Okay, you know what I think the move is here? I think h5 is a good move. Because if they capture the pawn, you've got queen h4. Yeah? I think that's so let's put it on the board. Some opening theory somewhere has been preserved in this old brain of mine. Okay, d4. Okay, breaking out. Allowing an en passant capture, which we may or may not do, but also allowing h4. And what is that knight? Like, where does it go? e2? If we kick the g3 knight, where does it go? I think it goes to e2, you know? And that starts to look unpleasant. Bishop g4 is coming in. Queen f6 is coming in. Hang on. Bishop's still on f8. I feel like this was the threat, so I'm just going to do it. Don't think we wanted to capture en passant. Okay, the knight goes to e2. Maybe just bishop g4. and just looks unpleasant. Oh, hang about. Can't we... Why didn't we take on d4? The d4 pawn's hanging, right? We can't do that now because it's defended. So maybe that was a miss. Maybe knight d4 was a miss. Something went amiss. Alright, bishop g4. I think it's always a good move in these structures. I guess they can kick us with h3, yeah, but I think then we'll just drop back. And we can maintain the pin. We can go to g6 if we ever get booted off that diagonal. And now we are threatening knight takes d4 because the e2 knight is pinned to the queen. So c3 is a move which looks like it. That makes sense. Maybe bishop e3 is a way of defending the d4 pawn. Perhaps it is. And I think we... c3. Okay, I think we missed a trick. But these light squares look seriously weak now. They look very weak. Well, these ones. Okay. Alright, let's have a think. Queen f6. Probably want to play bishop e3. It's annoying that we can't play bishop c5 anymore. Queen f6 and we can castle long, I suppose. Our king is still on f7, let's not forget that. I think we want rook f8 actually and just bring the king back. But our bishop is on f8, so let's bring the bishop to d6 before we do anything else. This is a high-rated player for us, 16-11. Okay, queen b3. Queen b3 hits d5, which... but there's a bit of a trick there, isn't there? No, there isn't, annoyingly, because there's a pawn on f2. Okay, it does hit d5. d5 is a kind of weak pawn. Is there much we can do about that? Guess we could play queen g5. But the bishop's actually controlling that square, so maybe not. Unpinning their knight as well. I feel like queen f6, drop d4, e5, d5, sorry, and then just castle long. Might give us a good game. Our king, we can't castle long. Our king's on f7. Come on, Blinkon. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, this is kind of a nuisance. We can't play c6 because we've got a pawn on c6. So it looks like this is starting to go a little bit awry. Can we play knight e7 to defend and then hope to play c6? So then we're going to drop queen b7. So it's a fork, isn't it? It's a fork. Alright, what about the problems for them on the king's side? Okay, this is... Alright, I don't like it, but I'm gonna do it. Okay, so now we drop b7. But I don't think that's a problem. Maybe this position is not good for us anymore. Bishop f4. I see, but hang on. Bishop takes e2. Bishop d6. Where's their queen? It's on b3, right? Then we could throw in bishop c4. Right. We can throw in bishop c4. Actually, nah. On bishop takes e2, they play knight takes e2. Oh, but then we can take. And if they take here, then we've got knight takes with a fork on c2. This looks like a good line, so let's just put it on the board. Bishop takes e2. Now I think that if they try and get out of this by playing bishop takes d6, which they didn't do. Okay, what am I missing? We take on f4, they take on f4, we play knight takes d4. No, they got a pawn on c3. Okay, none of that worked. So we just give the bishop pair for basically no reason. So is this. Have they got a pawn on c3? Yeah, they definitely have. Okay, no bother. It does allow us to play c3 and just consolidate. Hang on, we've not got a knight on c6. I don't understand. We put our knight back here. Okay, none of that made any sense. Never mind. Okay. Back to the real world. So what is actually going on in this position? We've got a knight here, king here, bishop here, queen here, and 2 rooks. Our pawn structure is kind of advanced in the center. We've got no f-pawn and looking like this. Their pawn structure... f-pawn? Yes. Like so. Did they play a4? No, that was the previous game. Huh. Alright, I think it looks like that. So what are we going to do? I think it's time to play c6. Inviting queen takes, so that we can perhaps get our rook on the b2 square. But this has gone haywire, right? This went from a lovely position to a shoddy one, and I just wish we played knight takes d4 when we had the chance against the move d4 on like move 7. We'll look back on that in the analysis. Okay, but you know, this is the position now. There's no point dwelling on the past. That cloud has disappeared over the horizon and been replaced by this shit shower. All right, I think we're going to go there. We're going to give up the pawn. Is there any sense in... Nah, look, let's just do it. This knight's pinned, but I think that's okay. We should play rook f8, king g8. Can we take on b2? And is that a thing? I think it is, yeah. I think it is. Is this queen threatening anything? No, our knight's pinned, but I don't think that's a problem. So our 2 minor pieces are here, and their 2 minor pieces are there. Ah, that actually creates a threat, doesn't it? Rook takes b2. It threatens rook takes e2, and prevents them from castling. So the natural move would be bishop takes d6. Queen d... Yeah, well done.
Expected.
Now then. Okay. Well, I think we just got to take back. I don't think there's anything we can do. Nothing flashy. Alright, now they've got a weak pawn on c3. That's clear. We've got a weak pawn on c6. But we've got an active rook, and their king's in the middle. So is kind of our king in the middle, but we can, you know, we can double on the b file. We can even get rook f8. Can we also get a knight f5? Can I get a... Interesting. I think we... Queen's... Okay. You know what? I think that's very good for us. Like, I think that pawn structure is just bad after this. I think it's just bad. That's queen c5, right? So let's just trade queens. Okay. Yeah. They're a pawn up, that's why they've done this. Okay. Knight here. But what about just the simple... where we've got a pawn on c6. Okay, so we can't do it that way. We can't really attack c3 yet. Okay, we can attack d4 eventually by knight f5. And the a pawn is weak as well, right? Their a pawn is weak, so why don't we play rook? We got... Yes, play rook a8. Knight d4. I thought, yeah, okay, knight d4. Well, what's that all about? There are some checks. Well, they aren't checks, actually. No, they just want to take on c6, but it's defended, right? So, didn't they just blunder rook takes a2? I think they did. I don't see any problems. Castles. Okay, good. Right, now our king is advanced. Their knight went to d4. Their weak point is on c5. So can't we... We can't go here, unfortunately. We can attack their knight, can't we? Like, what's wrong with rook? e2. d2, rather. Now they've got these... I think they've got... Yeah, okay. Rook c2. Threatening c3. I think they've got pawns like... this. Anything on this? Yeah. And we've got pawns like... this. Oof, hang on, what's going on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That can't be right. No, we've got a pawn here. They're threatening... Well, they want to trade rooks, but that's got to be good for us. That has to be good for us, I'm sure. Our route's quite long, actually. What should we do? Look, let's just do it. Now then. Right, I think what we want to do is bring the king first. Or do we want to bring the knight round? Here. What's their route to attacking us? They want to get to d5, so let's play knight f5. Sorry, they want to get to d4. Here. Okay, let's just drive the king into the position. Go to d4. Well, I still think this is good for us, so I'm just going to make it easier for me to try and understand the position. Right, that's blocked everything up on the over here, right? So let's just... Do you want to bring the king in? I think we do, because they've got no advances, right? So let's just plonk the king on f4. Right, and now we can just push our kingside pawns, I think. It's like there's no way they're going to get anywhere with their king. I say our kingside pawns. Pawn. We might end up with an outside passer, and then our king can just run riot. And I think we've got good chances in this pawn ending. Come on. Full board vision. Playing the games. What move was that? I think that's king back to f1. I think that's king back to f1. Our king can't actually advance. Yeah. Okay, but we can do... Okay, let's go to f4. Now we have to calculate, and we've got no time to do it. They put f4. If you go here, they take. They can create a passed pawn, but I think our king is in time. I'm going to risk it. I think it's in time because we can capture this and come back. Come on, give us a capture. Okay, now we can come in like so, and I think it's... Oh no, we can capture that, can't we? Where did we put our pawn? We put it there. Okay, we're gonna... Shit. Fuck. Okay, we've got to come back to defend. Okay, I think this might just be a draw now. Can't push, can we? I think it's a draw. Okay. Problem is you can't take... Oh, maybe... Oh, hang on. Alert. I think we can take this. If they advance, we take that. They advance again. We go... No, we can't do that. Hang on, is there a... Yeah, okay. Sorry, getting excited for no reason. Takes, advance. Goes here, advance. Yeah, we can't. It's a draw. Draw by repetition. Okay, were we? Oh, they didn't have an H pawn. Oh, I was winning. Oh, I'm so disgusted. I'm disgusted. Oh well, we didn't lose. Let's go to the analysis. Oh, you know what? That is... I bet you were shouting at the screen, weren't you? I bet you were shouting. Screaming. King takes G2, I think, was winning. Look, let's go to the analysis. Let's go to the analysis board. Ah, you know. Good timing with the tune ending. Look at that, mate, in 34. Oh, there were so many ways. I thought there was a pawn on H3. That's why I forgot that he got traded in all the heat of the action. And that's why I wasn't able to win the pawn ending. So let's just go through the game from the beginning and let's just see what went wrong. Because something definitely went wrong. Okay. Knight C3 is
Inaccuracy.
it's inaccurate because this fork trick exists. So we take here on D5. And if the natural recapture, D5.
Double attack.
And you get it back. And there's a really interesting line actually in this variation. If they play, I think, yeah, bishop b5, we take the knight and they try and win this one. You've got this brilliant move, queen g5, which like just attacks everything. And here they can take your knight. Ah, no, we take the bishop if they do that. So what do they do here? Maybe they capture with the bishop. Anyway, queen g5 is a big move there. Is that the line I'm thinking of? d4, that's right, this is it. d4, and then you go queen g2, so you attack the rook. Rook f1. And now you have to accept that this c6 is going to go. So you play bishop d6 to castle. They play knight c6, and there's a brilliant move in this position. I invite you to just have a quick look at the position while I rue a dearth of tea. There's a brilliant move in this position, a6. And why is this brilliant? The bishop goes back to a4, right? The discoveries don't work because we attack the bishop. And the fact that this bishop is on a4 and not b5 becomes very, very important. We castle. They retreat their knight back. Okay, so currently we've actually given up a piece. We take the knight off so that we can play bishop g4, attacking the queen. Now, big problems are afoot. I think queen moves. The book move is f3, right? Which makes sense, right? You're trying to just get this bishop off your case. We take with the e pawn, play this move queen d2. Is this the line I'm thinking of? Yeah, f2 check, rook takes f2, and check this out. Queen e4, check. This is the whole reason why we brought the bishop to a4. And there's just such a lovely culmination to this line. Because in this position, I don't know if you can spot this, but it looks like rook f4 is a move. And it is in fact the book line, but you've got queen d7, which defends your bishop. And black ends up, ahead here because they're a pawn up. And also this king is just a bit wobbly. So just out of interest, why is f3 the top move here? Like, can you not just move your queen? What about just queen d4? Is it the point now you just get hit with rook d8? Yeah, okay. Rook d8, queen moves, and you get mated. All right. So, but that's not what happened. That's not what happened. Instead, White did what most players do in this position, which is say, okay, I recognize that there's a fork. I'm going to take on f7. Take on f7, they take the knight back. And then we played I played e4 first, yeah, now h5, which is a good move. d4. Okay, we couldn't play knight takes d4. Crying out loud. It's protected by the queen. Okay, more blindfold trash. But we were allowed to do this, which actually is the top move. Knight e2. Now queen f6 was apparently a good move. Oh my word, I thought that I was threatening d4. Just completely missed the queen's defense at d4. That's going to cause me problems later on. Okay, we drop the bishop back. c3, bishop d6. Okay, this looks like a menace, but I just don't feel that the b7 pawn really is a liability, or that losing it is going to cause any problems when this king is still in the middle, and this lack of development here. Knight e7, bishop c5. Now I start to get very excited. Well, not quite yet. Knight takes e2. Yeah. Okay. Rook b8 is a good move. Queen a7, and now actually black's just better, but not after this move apparently. Okay, so why do we want bishop f4? What's the difference? Rook a8. Rook a8, queen c5, rook b8. Whoa, engines find strange moves that just don't make any sense. That's not the move they were looking for. Queen b8. Oh, look at this. Oof. That's full board vision. Do you see that? They played, that was a clearance. Rook a8, hitting the queen, which really has to go to c5, I don't think there's any other square, so that you can put the queen on b8 with a double attack. That's just, I mean, that's just fantastic. I love that. Wow. Okay, but in this position after queen b8, what about... Ah, there's no knight d3. Alright. Well, there's no way I'm going to see that. Instead I took on b2. In this position apparently is even. But this is toast. Like, nice. Yeah. We saw the right moves. Castles. Yeah. I think this was a good choice for Blindfold, but I think we've lost all of our advantage here. This is still drawn, apparently. But now it's not. So the king had to probably step to d2. The king had to step to d2. And the reason it's e3, yeah, I could have broken through with e3. The reason why this is losing is because this pawn is just weak, and the king is going to collect it. And once that pawn falls, and this pawn falls, black has just got these two connected passes. Instead, I tried to break through on the other side of the board. Now it's a draw again. Okay, and again it's lost because the king needs to be on d2 for the same reason, e3. So I found the move e3. In this position, what I didn't see is that there isn't a pawn on h3. And here you just take on g2 and you promote your pawn. Unfortunately, the line I saw was king g2, f4, king takes h3, because I think I've got to clear the way. Pawn f5, king g4, they go here, and they actually queen first, weak queen, but it's not with a check. And in the resulting position, we may even be lost there. Let's have a, well, you know, this is what I thought would occur. It's actually still drawn, apparently. This is a line that I avoided. Okay. Well, perhaps a draw is a fair result there, to be honest. Wasn't really seeing all the ideas. Alright, that was fun. That was very fun, though. It was very fun. Alright, full board vision. We're back. We're back in business, you know. We're open. We're open for business. We've got a special guest joining the stream in about 20 minutes' time. So I'm going to take a short break. And we're going to be back around 7 p.m. With a couple more Blindfold games. So, you know, do rejoin us. Do rejoin us for some more action. And, you know, if you can stand the misplaced pieces, the incorrect arrows, the general fun, please do return. All right, I'll see you guys later.